So, some time ago, uh, this is when I was still in my 20s. So we're talking about 1837. I was in New York and I was teaching Sunday school. And I'm sure many of you have been to prison. I mean, Sunday school before too. And so I was teaching Sunday school, and I had the 11, 12-year-old kids. And the masjid didn't have like different rooms. They had those partitions, right? And there was the teenagers on the other side. And the teacher for the teenagers was a little bit late. So they were talking to each other, and I'm trying to teach. So I just decided, guys, don't worry about teaching. Let's just listen to the teenage kids. So we were just eavesdropping on the teenagers. Then their teacher showed up, and he said, sit down, sit down. And they all sit down, and then the teacher says to them, I want to know, what is the most amazing story you ever heard? That's what he asked the kids, teenagers. And everybody sort of started participating, answering. Dragon Ball, Transformers, this is ancient, so yeah. And then, X-Men, and people started mentioning certain video games that have a really good storyline, and they started arguing with each other about which story is better and which is not. That happened, and the teacher was not expecting any of this. He said, no. It's the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. We're telling you the best story. Allah says it's the best story. And the kids are like, oh yeah. The problem with that, it's etched in my mind, that experience, because the kids are accepting the stories of the Quran as the best because they're being told to accept them as the best, not because they feel that they're the best. But when you tell them, hey, there's a new movie coming out, or did you watch the new series? Did you see the new release? There's an excitement. Oh my God, did you see that story? Oh my God, the plot twist at the end. Oh, is the final episode already out? And so I felt like something is deeply missing. Yes, we can have halaqat of tafsir, and we can have, khutbahs for Jumu'ah, and we can have all that stuff. But one of the things that every society in history has passed down generation after generation is actually stories, right? Even children's songs are basically stories, right? And stories are so powerful in human history that they are a trillions of dollars of industry. Everything from novels to comic books to manga to anime, to action films, to TV series, all of that is what in the end? And stories. And stories are so powerful that even in journalism, the editor has to make the news event, storyboard it, and present it like a story for it to make sense. They can't just tell the news. They have to turn it into a story. And the Quran, the final communication from God to humanity, Allah decided that He could have communicated His wisdom to us any way He chose. He's the owner of all knowledge. And He decides to make one of the most fundamental pieces of the way the Quran delivers its message. One of its most core components is the telling of stories. It's fundamental to the Quran. And it's not just the telling of the story, because Allah isn't just interested in telling you what happened. He tells it in a really compelling, beautiful, thought-provoking way. Now, what's the purpose of a story when somebody goes and watches it on Netflix or on Amazon or HBO, or when somebody watches a short film, or some people still go to the theater, I don't know. But when they go and they watch a movie, what is the reason for which you want to watch a movie? Entertainment, escape from reality, or sometimes it's very gently commenting on your reality in some way, right? So some people are watching something emotional on the TV screen, they're like, why are you crying? Just the pain. They're a paid actor. That's saline. Anyway. So the point that I'm making is stories are a massive form of entertainment. The Quran does not want to dismiss that. Because the fact that a story should actually be compelling to get your attention, it has to have some level of entertainment in it. It has to. If it's not interesting to you, it won't get your attention. So it's not like I can say, oh, the Quran stories have no entertainment in them. That's incorrect, actually. The Quran stories have no dramatic elements in them. That's also incorrect. But the Quran stories have something all the time, every time, with every piece of the story, there's something there that is just not there in any other story. And you know what that is? There's something to take for your life in every part of the story. There's something in that story, fihi dhikrukum, in it, it's actually talking about you. It's touching on you in some way, and myself in some way. So what I wanted to do, if there were kids here, I was going to take a different approach, but since you're, grown kids, I'm going to still tell you some parts of a story. It's just a very small piece of a story, but I want you to just pay attention to how Allah tells it. How Allah tells it. And this is personally one of my favorite stories in the Quran. I've talked about it a million times. So I'm kind of still debating. Maybe I'll take a vote. Either I'll share with you a scene, just a scene from one of the stories or scenes from Musa alayhi salam, either that one, or one small scene from the life of Yusuf alayhi salam. So you could pick. Show of hands for Musa. Show of hands for Yusuf. All right, you people have a problem. Okay. Let me tell you why you like the story of Yusuf so much. Let me just help you out. I love the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam went through so much hardship just like me. And he had so many people in his own family that were so jealous of him. I know what that feels like. I know exactly what he was going through because I don't know why everybody's so jealous of me all the time. I don't even do anything wrong and I feel like I'm the one that gets thrown under the bus, thrown into jail. Everybody's always criticizing me. God. You love the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Not you, your neighbor from Ohio. They love the story of Yusuf alayhi salam because it allows them to celebrate being a victim. Because now, just like money is currency, crypto is currency, being a victim is also currency. And you can actually being a victim can be a whole identity. I'm going to make a video about my trauma. And this time I'm going to talk about the trauma and what it does to your driving. And tomorrow I'll make a video about how trauma affects brushing your teeth. If you're really that traumatized, how do you have the time to color correct the camera? And then on top of the celebration of being a victim, there's another interesting thing that's happened, especially in the Muslim scene. You guys don't do this. People in Ohio do this. You guys don't do this. Not Wisconsin either. Okay, so you know what they do? They'll take a picture of themselves while making dua. Or while crying, looking up at the sky. Who was holding the camera? And then they'll do it and they'll put a meme underneath when you only have Allah to turn to. Remember Surah Yusuf, hashtag Surah Yusuf. You know what that's become? We all have pain in our life, but social media has given us an opportunity to broadcast our pain. Broadcast it to the world. That's what it's done. So what I'm going to share with you a little bit is something about that. Maybe I'll share two things with you, but at least one for starters from the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. And that has to do with the first scene of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam comes to his father at the opening of the story in the Quran. And he says, Ya abati inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaban wa shamsa wal qamara ra'aytuhum li sajidin. My beloved father, basically saying like, Dad, I love you. I saw 11 stars, the sun and the moon. I saw them doing sajda, prostrating before me. Okay. Who did he tell this to? His father. Okay. And he started by saying, Dad, I love you. Everything in the Quran is significant. Do you guys accept that? Everything in the Quran. There's no extra information in the Quran. In fact, I want you to remember this part properly. The conversation I'm having with you right now, I've been speaking for 5-7 minutes. If you made a transcript of it, it would be 3-4 pages already. You know that? 3-4 pages. The life of Ibrahim alayhi salam is well over 100 years. Okay? And if you were documenting every conversation he ever had in his life, how big would that be? Do you understand? It would be millions of pages. You understand that? In the Quran, the entire life of Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah chose certain moments that amount to a handful of pages, which actually amounts to a handful of minutes, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of his life are in the Quran. You with me? 30 minutes of his life. And even when I say, Yusuf said to his father, my dad, I saw 11 stars, the sun and the moon, I saw them making sajda. How much time did that take to say? Few seconds. 10, 15 seconds. That sentence is done. It's over. Allah did not give us their lives. Allah gave us seconds from their life. You understand this? So now Allah chose from those seconds. What He decided to keep is, after rejecting a lot of their history, a lot of their story did not make it to the Quran. So the final cut that makes it into the Quran, every part of it is significant. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Okay? Now if you understand that, then the fact that he says, Ya abati wa ta' tushir ila al-hub wal-karam, it's as if you say, my beloved and respected father. That's what the first statement is. My beloved and respected father. I know nobody speaks like this. Not anymore, right? We don't say my beloved and respected father. Or we don't, but I'll give you the United States equivalent of Ya abati, Dad, I love you. So he didn't just say Dad, he said Dad, I love you. By the way, if you just want to say Dad, you could just say Ya abi. In fact, even if he didn't say Dad, if he just said I saw 11 stars, the sun and the moon, and he never mentioned his dad, calling his dad, the statement would still be understood. When Yusuf said to his father, I saw 11 stars. So the fact that Allah mentioned, Dad, I love you, my beloved, respected father, is a choice Allah made for every believer to contemplate. This is significant. Okay, so let's ask this question. I've asked this question in, I would say, about 50 cities around the world now. This same question I'm about to ask you. How many people were raised hearing from their dad that he loves them for no reason at all? Just randomly, he just says, son, I love you. Beta, I love you. Beti, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Just a regular thing. Show of hands. Yeah, you're about the same statistics as the rest of the ummah. And please make note of whoever raised their hand so we can scratch their car on the way out. You know what happens in many families? But you know, it might be confusing to some of you. I'm saying, hey, how many dads, you remember your dad saying he loves you all the time for no reason? But actually, I should be asking how many kids were saying it, because the story is not about a dad saying it. The story is about a kid saying it. But actually, kids copy what they hear. You see viral videos online of kids using foul language, right? Little 2-year-old saying, what the beep, 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 and it's millions of views. Where did that kid learn to speak like that? Where did he get it? And he's pointing at his dad. Instagram. Okay. You learn it from adults. So if Yusuf, a child, is saying to his dad, Dad, I love you, where do you imagine he learned that from? From his dad. Very good. So his dad says, Yusuf, I love you, give me some water. Yusuf, I love you, come sit with me. Yusuf, I love you, it's time to go to bed. Yusuf, I love you, it's cold outside, wear something warm. Yusuf, I love you, come here, sit with me. Yusuf, I love you, your mother's calling you. Yusuf, I love you, close the window. Yusuf, I love you, Yusuf, I love you, Yusuf, I love you. And what does Yusuf learn to do? Dad, I love you, Dad, I love you, Dad, I love you. Anything, Dad, I love you. He responds. But of course, we now, it's in the Quran, so it's clearly guidance for you and me. And perhaps the first guidance we're getting is families, and by the way, this is not just about father and son, this is about all loving relationships. All of them. Perhaps one of the lessons that we're getting out of this story, from the very opening, is that a family has to be one in which love is expressed. You actually have to let someone know you love them. And it doesn't have to just be from the words, I love you. It could be something like, I miss you. It could be something like, sit next to me. It could be something like, I haven't seen you for so long, and it just makes me happy to see you happy. Loving words. I'm proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Something kind. And you know what? That's really hard to do for family members, for Pakistanis. No, for everybody. It's hard. In fact, many parents, none of them here, all of them in Ohio, many parents will sing the praises of their children to everyone else. My son, he went to University of Michigan, graduated in 3 years. And they'll talk up their kid, their son, their daughter. Oh, my son, mashallah, my daughter does this for me. She does everything. She does every and then the daughter comes home. Tumne kiya kya apni zindagi mein? What have you ever done with your life? You think you've ever done anything? The daughter herself will never hear kind words about herself. Everybody else will hear them, though. Everybody else will hear them. In fact, the daughter will never even know. The son will never even know they're that nice in their absence. Like it's like reverse ghiba. Right? But sometimes you get a glimpse of it. When you go to a wedding together, right? When you go to a wedding together, you have to look like a happy family. Right? So you could be fighting on your way to the wedding hall. Okay, we're getting the cameras are on. Assalamu alaikum, this is my son, so proud of him. Like, and even the son is like, are you proud of me? I'm confused. Yusuf alayhi salam is teaching us, and his father is teaching us something amazing. You have to be able to express love. By the way, in some families, expressing love is a paid service. You don't get it free. You got to do something for it. If you do this, then your father will make dua for you. Maa ki dua chahiye ke nahi? You want it or not? You want your mom's love? And the only time you might get a hug or a pat on the shoulder or I'm proud of you, if you give some money, if you do what they told you to do, if you gave up what you wanted, if you basically handed control over in some way, that's when you might get a glimpse of love, and it feels so good for those 3 seconds that you felt loved. You're like, I'm going to enslave myself psychologically to my parents for the rest of my life because that felt so good. But they don't give it to you all the time. They'll take it away again. And then the next time they need to exert control, they'll say, if you want love, you better do what I'm saying. And then you hand. So it's not a free service. It comes at a price. So we hold love hostage. The way I'm going to explain this to you, this might sound familiar to some of you, but I'm going to walk you through this. The opening of Surah Yusuf is actually telling us how to love family. How to love family. And I like to think of this as a close friend of mine in Virginia. He and I have been discussing this a couple of years ago, and we came up with a way to understand this subject broken up into 5 parts. So I'm going to give you those 5 parts. Okay, the first one I kind of already talked to you about. You have to use words that express love. And sometimes when you don't tell your son or your brother or your sister or your wife or your husband that you love them, you don't say it. You just don't say it. Or even if you say it, it's artificial, right? Then eventually they explode. You never even say you love me. Well, of course I love you. I pay the bills. So obviously I love you. I'm still tolerating your existence. So you don't say it. But that's just one, to express love with words. Here's the second, and the most important one will be the 5th, but we'll build up to it. The second one is going to be doing something for the one you love. Serving them. If you massage your mother's feet, if you help clean up the snow, which is a Michigan problem. We get that sometimes in Texas. You do that? Good. Good. You helped out without even being asked, right? And some people in Ohio, they have this problem. Some moms have this problem in Ohio. It's crazy, those mothers in Ohio. It's like psychotic. You know what they do? There, yeah, Ohio. So Ohio in the house? Yeah, yes. Good. You people have a problem. Let me tell you. Okay. Okay. By the way, when I come to Ohio, I'll pick on Michigan. Don't worry. So, you know what they do? You'll have a mom, while she's making breakfast for you, she's tearing you apart. Why did I have such a lazy child? Why don't you ever do anything right? Why are you sitting like that? Why can't you be more like your sister? Na kaam ki, na kaaj ki, dushman na naaj ki. And you're sitting there waiting for her to make your breakfast and she's going at you. She's tearing you apart psychologically with her words. And you're sitting there thinking, why am I even alive? Why do I exist? Why? Nobody loves me. I have no one. My mother hates me so much. And then, eat your eggs, you look skinny. What? Because the eggs, the paratha, the whatever that's an act of love, isn't it? So the words have so much resentment and anger and even hate in them. But the service is service of love, and it's like a confusing message. Okay, give me a hug before you go. So for some people, in their head, in some Ohio mother's head, so long as I do service, I can use cruel words. I don't have to use kind words, loving words, because my love is not expressed from words. My love is expressed at the laundry machine. My love is expressed at the kitchen. My love is expressed when I clean up after you. My love is expressed in these other ways. Or my love is already expressed because I gave you birth. So I already did my expression. Now it's time for you to do the payback. Right? So yeah, crazy, right? Don't move to Ohio. Okay, so that's the second. So there's two. There's words and there's service. And then of course there's gifts. Right? And gifts, the idea behind gifts is, you give somebody at Eid or, for no reason, you give them a gift. It's an expression of love. It brings joy to the heart. But then sometimes when you do something for someone, somebody feels like, I don't have to do anything to serve you in any way. I don't have to use kind words. All I have to do is what? Give gifts. That's good enough. That's good enough. I can buy your love. And by the way, I'll talk about uncomfortable things because it's okay. I'm leaving. There are many divorces in the Muslim community. And sometimes there are divorces in families that have children. And a lot of times, in the court system in the United States, it's more than a little skewed. So 9 out of 10 times, you'll get moms that get the custody of the child. And the child sees his dad on the weekends or every other weekend. There's a schedule for them to see their child, right? And a lot of times, those are good mothers. They don't disparage their father. Even though the marriage didn't work between them, but they understand that the relationship that this child has with their father is something sacred and they shouldn't tamper with it. Other women don't see it that way. Other women weaponize their children against their father. So the 90% of the week, the child is with the mom and the mom is kind of filling their head with how your dad left us. Your dad abandoned us. Your dad doesn't care about us. It was never us, it was just you, lady, but you want to make it feel like it was us. And then you fill that in the kid's head, and then the one weekend he's going to his dad, the kid already says, why should I even spend time with you? You left us. And the dad then feels like my kids who loved me so much, all of a sudden, they don't even look at me the same way. I got to do something about this. So what does the dad do? He picks them up, goes straight to the mall. Straight to the mall, whatever you want. Which sneakers do you want? You want a new backpack for your school? Do you want a new phone? Where should we go? You want to go to Six Flags? You want to go on a trip? You want to go to Florida? Why would you go to Florida? Anyway, go to Florida. You want to go anywhere? What do you want to do this weekend? Let's have fun this weekend. And the dad is throwing money at these kids because he's like, this is the only weekend I have to earn some love back from these children. And he's just pouring money in and he's hoping that this will be enough for them to see that I love you. Through gifts, right? Through gifts. And at the end of that weekend, he'll say, okay, just remember, kiddo, I text you sometimes, just text me back. Just say salam. I'll just say salam, just say wa alaikum salam. That's all I ask. Is he going to get a text back? No, because the dad has now been reduced to a cash register. So, and then 10 years of doing that, and the kid will turn back to you and say, you think all those gifts mean something? I don't mean anything. So dads that are doing that, and I understand your feeling why you're doing it, but I also understand that you're making a mistake. That's not the basis of love. It's important. Gifts are important. But gifts are all you're relying on is a problem. So for some people, gifts are everything, right? Some kids aren't getting along with their parents because there's no kindness in their words. You know, there's a roughness in them. And then when there's roughness, oh yeah, I don't love you? Turn the water on in the kitchen. You see that water running? That's your Eid present. You see the car outside? You see this? Who paid your tuition? Who did this? Who did that? Let me remind you of my gifts to you so you know to be in your place. I mentioned 3 so far. Which 3? Words, service, and gifts. And by the way, all 3 of those things are beautiful. I mentioned ugly situations for them because they can be misused, but all 3 in and of themselves are beautiful things. Here's a 4th one. Affection. A hug. A hand over the shoulder. Carrying the child. Loving them. When they're crying, there's 2 options. You know, young mothers, they're mothers for the first time. They don't have that much experience. So when the baby's like, ah, nahi bete, be quiet, bete. The kids see, oh, you think that was loud? Let me show you loud, lady. And he gets louder, and eventually the mom says, quiet. And then I see the raging, loving mom. She's confused about between rage and love. She's putting her baby to sleep. She's like, and the kid's like, okay, fine. The loving mom does this. The raging mom, the kid's like, see it too. Anyway, affection, a hug, putting an arm over somebody's shoulder, walking with someone holding their hand, signs of affection. And you know what? In many families, it's not normal. In many families, for example, you can hug your mama, but you don't hug your baba. Baba comes home, Assalamu alaikum. Like the general just came, Assalamu alaikum. Like, you just avoid eye contact, right? So there's 4 now. And by the way, for some people, they think so long as there's affection, there don't need to be kind words, there don't need to be any service, there don't need to be any gifts, because what's already there? Affection. You go to your brother and say, bro, you said something really mean the other day. Just give me a hug, bro. You still have a problem? I think affection will solve the problem. Well, what does all of this have to do with Surah Yusuf? It's the 5th one. And I want to share that with you because, and before I do, I want to give you a fair, honest warning. We love our family members and we want to give them the best of our love. And sometimes we give our children, our spouses, our parents, we give them words of love, we give them service, we give them gifts, and we give them affection. All 4. Check, 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 check. Everything. And I'm telling you, all 4 will be multiplied by 0 if you don't have number 5. If you have all 4 perfectly, and you don't have number 5, it doesn't count. You will not have a healthy relationship with anybody. So what is this crazy number 5? I call it space. I call it what? Space. I'm not referring to Buzz Lightyear, you know, but let me just explain what I mean by that by giving you a couple of examples of space, okay? I'll first pick on, I picked on the ladies yesterday. Let me pick on them again. It's okay. You can handle it. Let's just say there's a girl named Zainab who's got an older sister. And Zainab got a marriage proposal. And she's thinking about the marriage proposal. But she wants to talk to her older sister, Fatima. If there's a Zainab in the audience and a Fatima in the audience, do apologies. Okay. So Zainab goes to who? Fatima. And she says to Fatima, hey, Fatima, can I talk to you for a second? And here's Fatima. Uh-huh. Yeah. What is it? You know that proposal from Abdul Karim? Sorry, Abdul Karim. Yeah, I'm really thinking about it, but I'm confused because his beard, I don't know if it's too long or not long enough. I don't know. And Fatima's like, yeah, whatever, yeah. And Zainab says to Fatima, Fatima, can you put that down for a second? Can you just talk to me for a second? I'm listening. I can listen and do this at the same time. It's called multitasking. You should try it sometime. Zainab says, please, Fatima, just 1 minute. And here's Fatima for you. Go ahead. Now the problem with that, Zainab came to Fatima asking for what? I would call that space. Don't confuse space with attention. Right now you're paying attention to what I'm saying, I think. That doesn't mean you're giving me space. Here's what space means. I can tell you what's important to me. I can tell you what's important to me, and you will listen to it as if it is important to you. And you will respond not in a way that you want, in a way that pleases you. You will respond in a way that cares for me, my concern, my worry, my happiness, my joy, my fear. For those moments became yours. You took them on. I trust you so much that I can share something so personal, so intimate, so private, so scary, so happy with you, that I know when I share it with you, I'm sharing it with someone who I'm perfectly safe with. They are safe to give me their space. It's not the same as paying attention. You can pay attention to the police officer who pulls you over after speeding. You're not giving him space, but you are paying attention. So don't confuse this with attention. Now, let's take another scenario. How many married men here? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This one goes out to you fellas. You and I gotta talk. You go on a road trip with your wife. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. No children, just you and the wife. Just you and the wife. And the thing with that is, you're driving, you're looking at the road. You're looking through your rear view mirror. She ain't looking at none of that. She's looking straight at you. And you can tell there's a laser beam kind of you can feel a burning sensation on the side of your face. But you can't. But anyway, that's because, here's the thing guys, she did something the night before. She insulted your mother in some indirect way. Or she said something like, well, that's just how you were raised, right? She made a comment like that. It wasn't so direct, but it hurt. But you didn't say anything. But it's here. And you're driving, and the thing with guys, we can speak personally, it's okay. Let's pretend they're not listening. The thing with us is, we can't hide it. We're really bad at that. So if something's bothering you, and you're driving, it shows on your face. And she has made her career reading your face. So now you're driving and she's doing what? Problem detected. So then when her scan is complete, she asks you one of the most dangerous questions you've ever experienced in your life. What you thinking? Every man here knows who's married. That question, wallahi, like if there's one thing that reminds you of Malakul Maut, it is that question. That question. Okay, so she says and now you're thinking, should I say what I'm thinking? Should I say, hey, last night you said this comment about how I was raised and it really hurt my feelings, and I would never say something like that to you, and I just didn't expect it, and I'm just so, like, why would you say something like that? You could say that, but you're like, nah, I choose life. So you say, oh, the project at work, it's so much, oh my God, my boss, the deadline, right? But you haven't developed good acting skills yet. So she can tell that the response you gave is invalid. So she says, you can tell me, right? You can tell me. And you said, no, there's nothing. That's nothing. What are you talking about? And then She looks at you and she says, oh, she does either one of two things. Okay, she either becomes the khatib, okay, or the khatib, I call it the bad cop, or the good cop. Let me just give you both scenarios. Here's the bad cop scenario, but then I'll give you the khatib. The bad cop is, oh, you don't want to tell me? Fine, fine. No, it's fine. It's okay. You don't have to tell me at all. No, no, don't tell me. Let's play that game. Now, this is the point where you'll be like, okay, I'll tell you everything. But she has another, not you, women in Ohio. It's not you. Okay. It's you three or something. Okay. So the other scenario is she says, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I am your libas and you're my libas. I should be able to share anything with you and feel like you listen, and you should be able to share anything with me. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the khutbah, this became the khatib, right? The khatib, right? And at the and she's saying it, and she's like, you know, I thought marriage is gonna be about trust, and if you can't even trust me with what you're feeling, then what's even the point? I thought, okay. She's saying, you can trust me. You can tell me anything. It's fine. I will listen. I will give you space. She's saying, just believe me. I will give you space. You're like, okay, all right. So here's what happened. Yesterday, you said that, and you tell your story, and then you're like, okay, I'm glad she gave me space. I could tell her that. Whew, that was easier than I thought. Stupid. Here's what's about to happen. Then you're driving in happiness, but you notice that you don't feel the laser beam, but there's a certain cold temperature here all of a sudden. And you notice that she's staring straight out the window. She's not even looking at you. She's looking at the endless nothingness that is Michigan. Right? And she's just so she's looking at that, and then you're like, well, say something. Say something. And she'll say, I'll say this in Urdu first, it's more fun. अब मैं क्या कहूँ, आप तो सब कुछ कह चुके. What can I say? You said everything already for me to say. What's even the point now? You know what? I felt like when I married someone, I would feel safe from them. I can't believe you said that to me. I hurt you? What about me? What about, you know what? You and your mother? I've had enough. Just take me home. I don't even want to talk. Just don't even talk to me. And you're driving, you're like, you just told me to say. It's like she was saying, step on the line, mine. Step on it. Just step on it. Do it. And you step on it and it blows up and you're like, I don't know how you convinced me of this. Now, the reason I'm telling you this crazy story, it comes back to Ya Abati. I'll tell you how. And it's crazy. The next time you're driving on a road trip with your wife and she says, what's wrong? Or what you thinking? What you gonna do? Work. Stomach ache. Headache. Allergies. The kids. Oh, my parents. You know, the weather in South Africa. You will come up with every answer except what? What you're actually thinking. And you know why? Because she taught you that she is not qualified to give you space. So she's not the right person to open up to because she makes it about herself. What did I say about space? When you give someone space, it's not about you, it's about them. I was picking on you for no reason. They can do that. I'm just giving a scenario, right? So this works both ways. And this works between parents and children, husband and wife, wife and husband, brother and sister. This works in all kinds of relationships. Now, the problem with this is, let's talk about marriage for a second. Okay, so it's been a couple of years where she didn't give you space. And by the way, when someone doesn't give you space, then you're not also able to give them space. And when you're not able to find space in your life, especially with your spouse, then you feel incredibly lonely. You feel it's a really lonely place to be. You're married, you're living under the same roof, but you're really lonely. And that's when Shaitan comes and says, I can help with that. And then, depending on your social media platform, you'll get a DM. I will underscore give you underscore lots of space. XX.O. What are you going through? You look like you're upset. I could tell, I could see the sadness in your profile picture. Really? Good observation, because the profile picture was sadness, but Allah can help. And all of a sudden, you're trying to find space in places that aren't meant for you by Allah's law, by Allah's guidance. Because you didn't get space where you were supposed to get it. Kids that didn't find space with their parents, that they should be able to talk about anything on their mind, anything at all, anything that happened at school. Right? They should be able to say it freely, and their parents will listen to them as if they can embody the emotions of their child when they're listening to them. See it from their perspective. If they didn't develop that, you can give your boy and your girl the best school, which is a gift. You can wash their clothes, which is a service. You can tell them I love you. You can give them all the hugs in the world, but you fail to give them what? Space. A time will come slowly that space will be given by their friends. Then that space will be given by influencers online. Then that space will be given by other, and they are sitting on the same dinner table as you, and they are not there. Their soul isn't there. It's somewhere else. And the second they're done eating a single bite, they say, can I go? Can I go to my room? Can I go? Can I go? Can I go? Why do they want to go so bad? Why are they in their phone so bad? Because something or someone on that phone is giving them what? Space that they no longer find in their family. Everything looks picture perfect on the outside. It's gone. And then those kids, when they're old enough, when they're 8, 17, 18, when they're a little bit more independent, all of a sudden, I'm moving out. I'm leaving. Yeah, I don't feel like praying. Mom, you can't tell me to pray anymore. It triggers me. But I put you in Islamic school. You did hifz. Yeah, I didn't feel like doing it. You didn't want to hear it. I was anxious every day. I had anxiety every day. I've been talking to a therapist. You have a therapist? Yep, I have a therapist. But now I can tell you that because you can't legally say anything about it anymore. You traumatized me with your Islamic education. What? I thought I was giving you a good life. I thought I gave you a good education. I tried to take care of you. And all of a sudden, all the words of love, the service, the gifts, the affection, all of it multiplied by what? 0. Because what wasn't there from the beginning? Fought their space. Space is not you telling them something. Space is when they tell you something. When the boy comes to the father and says, Ya abati, inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaban. Now think about Yusuf alayhi salam for a second. He was not in the company of his father for long, was he? Where did he go from there? He went from one traumatic situation to another traumatic situation to another traumatic situation, and in all of those situations, the people he was surrounded with, you cannot characterize them as good company. He has spent his entire formidable years, his vulnerable years, have been spent around bad company. In fact, his youth has been spent inside a prison cell, right? And in a prison cell, I'm pretty sure you don't have good company. And yet he's holding on to his faith. How? What Islamic education, what did he memorize? What ijazah did he get? What sheikh did he have? That he's holding on to his faith in all of those bad environments. It seems in early childhood, when a child receives the right kind of space from a loving father and mother, that can carry over for the rest of their life. This is the most important tarbiyah of all. The point that even a child can even tell you what they're dreaming. And they know that dad will listen to it because it's important. You know, my daughters, when they were younger, girls talk a lot in Ohio and in New York. When I used to be in New York. When I would pick my girls up from school, they wouldn't stop talking. Preschool girls won't stop talking. Girls do two things a lot. They giggle a lot and they talk a lot. And sometimes they do both at the same time. So my girls, they sit in the back. You know what happened today? I had a fight with Fatima and I took my friendship bracelet from her. Then I gave it to Zainab, but we made a new friend, Maryam, so we had to break the bracelet into 2. And now we have 2 bracelets, but it's only a little bit of beads. But then the third friend came and now we don't have enough bracelets. So I don't know what to do. And I'm keeping up with the bracelet geopolitics of the kindergarten. I'm keeping up, because they talk really fast and I got to keep up because I got to give them space, right? But you know, eventually you tune out. And when you tune out, you just say, yeah, that's good. MashaAllah, yeah, alhamdulillah. And these girls are so smart. They know when you're just on autopilot. So you're on autopilot, yeah, mashallah. They're like, yeah, when we go home, I'm going to poke my brother's eye. And you're like, mashallah, good, yeah. You do that. The most important lesson I want to leave you with is, do you actually find space in your closest relationships? Do you actually find that? Do you find that space with your siblings, your mom, your dad, your brother, your wife, your husband, your children that are adults now? Some of you are older. Your children that are adults now. Do you find space with them? Or do they, the moment the two words come out of your mouth, they say, oh, here we go again. You know what that means? There is no what? There is no space. I don't want to leave you with this. What I want to make sure you do after you leave here is you actually have real conversation about what your relationships look like. Because I want all of our relationships to improve. All of them. We all have troubles in our families. We all have drama. No, there's nobody who doesn't have drama in their family. If you're sitting around saying, why can't we have a normal family? Well, Allah didn't even give prophets a normal family, so calm down. Nuh alayhi salam had a psychotic wife. Ibrahim alayhi salam had a terrible father. The Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam had horrible uncles. Who's got a normal... Yusuf alayhi salam's siblings? Adam alayhi salam's kids? One killed the other. This is some pretty intense stuff. What is Allah teaching us? The best people can have very difficult what? Families. The best people can have very difficult families. So it's okay if you have family drama, family difficulty. But I do want to give you one more piece from this story. That has to do with space. What if you give all five? All five. But all five are rejected. All five are rejected. Yaqub alayhi salam was a prophet, right? And he's a Muslim. He's a prophet. And his kids are Muslim. And he's telling his son, I love you. I don't want to hear it. Just tell this to Yusuf. Psst. You don't love me. Just don't. Why are you even bothering saying it to me? Son, just come here. Give me a hug. No. I don't need your hugs. You know what? Who needs your hugs? Go hug Yusuf. We all know you love him better anyway. Why are you in pretending? Here, son, I made this gift for you. Yeah, no, you didn't make it for me. What, did Yusuf did not like it? Is that why you're giving it to me? Son, I'm trying to do something. I don't need your help. I don't need your service. I don't need your words. I don't need your gifts. I don't need your affection. Son, talk to me. Just tell me how you're... Why would I tell you how I feel? I don't want to talk to you. Shh. I talk to you? No, you hurt my mom's feelings. There's a backstory to that too. I'll tell you one day. They are rejecting everything that their father is giving them. Their father is giving them every dimension of love, but they built a wall. They built a wall. And that wall was so strong that Yaqub knew, alayhi salam, that he cannot get through to them. So he had to tell his son, watch out for them, because even I can't get through to them. So you know what? They will do something that's out of my control. فَيَكِيدُ لَكَ كَيْدًا إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. What I'm trying to tell you is, it's not always your fault. What I'm trying to tell you is, maybe you're doing everything you can, but the other person has decided to what? Put up a wall. And when they put up a wall, if you're from many Muslim countries, you have been programmed and conditioned to blame yourself every time. You just blame yourself. I must not be giving enough love. I must not be giving enough gifts. I must not be doing enough service. I must not be offering myself more. So you keep laying yourself out in front of someone, and they keep rejecting and rejecting and rejecting, and you keep chasing and they keep running. You keep chasing and they keep running. Does that happen? In Ohio, yeah. And when that happens, what you have to realize is you're only making the problem worse by chasing. And you're losing your self-respect by chasing. If you hurt someone's feelings and you have to apologize, apologize. But don't live in apology. Allah asks for one sincere istighfar and He forgives. And human beings want you to ask for their forgiveness life. I said, I'm sorry. Wasn't sorry enough. And they keep wanting to, they want you to live in istighfar. Allah wants humility. Human beings want more sajda than Allah. Don't fall into emotional surrender to other human beings. Even if you wronged someone, sincerely apologize to them. Offer them the opportunity to make things right. If they choose not to do that, you did your part. Stop living in guilt that they built a wall. Stop living in guilt that you're not able to make things perfect. Don't do that. And if you don't take this advice, the price you will pay, and I pray none of you have to pay that price, is that you'll end up just losing your self-respect. You'll live your life trying to please somebody who can't be pleased. Make someone happy who can't be made happy. Make someone love you who doesn't want to love you. That's what you'll end up doing your whole life. You'll be miserable. And then a lot of people live like that, and then they say, but I'm making so much dua that this person breaks their wall. Allah is not answering my dua. Then you come to speakers and say, how come Allah doesn't answer certain duas? I keep making so much dua, but it's not being answered. I was like, who are you trying to change and Allah is not changing? Why are your duas about changing someone else? Your duas should be about softening the heart towards Allah first. Ya Allah guide. Ya Allah guide. When Allah guides somebody's heart, all the other matters start getting sorted out. But that's not up to us. We cannot just wish someone's decisions away. They have to take steps themselves, right? We have to recognize that. So I wanted to share that with you because every bit of a story in the Quran has an entire treasure trove behind it, right? And there's so much to learn from, practically for our lives, from the smallest of things, from the smallest of things. Now, some of you are very inspired by today's discussion, so you're going to call your dad right now and say, my beloved father, I saw myself eating samosas last night for dinner in my dream. But by the way, even if you just try this, my beloved father on the phone with your dad, you know what he would most likely do? Talk to your mother. That's most likely do. But I mean genuinely, I pray that Allah gives all of us genuine, deep relationships in our family that protect us in every way that we should be protected. Allah has given us in the Quran the instruction to have taqwa of Him, and He's given us instruction to have taqwa of family ties. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامُ. Well, those are family ties. To have taqwa of family ties. So the same way, in the same ayah that we should be mindful and cautious of God, we should be mindful and cautious of family ties. And just like we don't want to do anything to hamper our relationship with Allah, and if we messed up, we fix it, the same way we should do everything we can to preserve and to nurture our relationship with our loved ones, and if we messed up, we got to work on fixing it. Allah Azza wa Jal give us all the ability to do that. Thank you so very much for listening today. Jazakumullahu khairan.